Hello students, welcome to the special series on CAT for CAT 2025 from Careers 360. I'm ARKS Srinivas here, coming to you with various videos to make sure that your preparation for CAT is completely wholesome and useful. In today's video, I'm going to take up one very important, interesting topic called algebra. You would have done it in your 8th, 9th and 10th classes. Maybe a lot of people who would have finished 10th in maths and taken up non-math subjects after 10th find it very worrisome about this particular area called algebra. In this video, I'm going to take you through what are the concepts that you need to definitely do, know and probably solve so that your CAT preparation is completely full. Before I get into those topics, it's also important to tell you that after arithmetic, algebra forms a significant portion of your quantitative area in the CAT exam. Out of the 22 questions that come, you can easily expect a minimum of 5 to 6 questions in algebra and even a maximum of up to 8 questions in algebra. And where do they come from? Which are the topics they come from? And that is going to be the subject of this discussion. Broadly, the topics in algebra can be classified into about 9-10 of them. Linear equations. There are people who say that linear equations should go into arithmetic in that sense, but let's put it this way, it could be in algebra as well as in arithmetic. Functions and graphs, indices and logarithms, quadratic equations, polynomials of course, progressions, sequences and series, the arithmetic progression, geometric progression, that kind of questions. Inequalities, and lastly the modulus or the greatest integer function. This is what constitutes your algebra. But let me tell you one more important thing. Of these, if I were to look at which are the most important ones, I would say 4 things: quadratic equations, progressions, indices and logarithms. So we have to go and look at least be good in 4 areas, if not all the areas. I do understand that people fear algebra. If you are a non-math student, my simple advice would be at least work on these 4 areas, if not the rest of these areas. Let's look at how many concepts are there in these areas. If you look at linear equations, there will be about 3 to 4 of them. Functions and graphs, basics of 3 to 4. Please understand that you are not going to become a mathematician. A lot of grouse is there that there are difficult questions. CAT is never an exam which tries to make you a mathematician, a grammarian, an Englishman. No, we are not looking at it. CAT is an exam which tries to find out how resourceful are you in the concepts that you know. So if you know the basic concepts like indices, there are 4 or 5 of them, logarithms 4 or 5 of them, quadratic equations, there are only 3 concepts, we'll talk about it. And out of the 8 questions that can come in CAT, you can be really rest assured that 2 of them will be from this quadratic equations area. And then you talk about polynomials, maybe 1 or 2 questions, maybe you will get, maybe you will not, but sequence and series, progressions as we call it. It's almost guaranteed that if there are 8 questions in the entire paper, 2 will be from quadratic and 2 or 3 will be from sequence and series itself. And then maybe 1 odd question in inequalities, 1 odd in modulus or others that way. The logic that I'm trying to say is, even if you are not good in mathematics, even if you fear math, make sure that your basic concepts in these areas are thorough. Not only that, if you are really talking about the total number of concepts that are there in whole of algebra, if you want to do all of algebra, and if you have very little time also, is that you will go through the basics. Now I'll just refer that in one of the videos I talk about test taking strategies. In that I say, hey, you should know what you are good at and what you are not good at. But I also say one more thing, and that is this CAT paper, any CAT paper for that matter, will have easy questions. Now these easy questions may not be from the area that you are good at. You may be very good at some area, but if the easy question is from an area which you are not good at, you're going to lose that 3 marks. Somebody else who is good in that, or I'm not even saying good in that, but somebody else who has spent some time understanding the basic concept, knowing the basic formula, will get that 3 marks, because such kind of questions do exist in CAT too. And not 1 or 2, 6 to 7 questions out of the 22 that come in CAT Quant will be that easy. Therefore, your job is not to miss out on these very, very basic concepts. I plan to also tell you, therefore, see what are these concepts in each of these areas. See, these are not by any chance exhaustive, but if I were you and preparing for CAT exam or planning to write the CAT exam, I should at least know these things very thoroughly. Not only know these things, if I were to look at previous year's questions, I will go back to the original CAT papers of the last 7-8 years and make sure that I solve the questions from these areas. Let's take indices for example. All of us know a to the power, any number to the power 0 is 1. A to the power 0 therefore is 1. Or a to the power minus m is 1 by a to the power m. Or a to the power m into a to the power n is equal to a to the power m plus n, or whatever that may be. The idea here is, okay, these are your formulae. These are your concept formulae. How do you utilize them? How do you apply them? And that, I think, is when you look at the mocks that we give you. Careers 360 is giving you 20 mocks free, and in these 20 mocks you will find it in the links, various links that these videos are there, so that you can download them for free and solve them too. Similarly, let's look at logarithms. Log 1 is 0. Log a to base a, or log of any number to base the same number, is 1. Log a plus log b is log of a to b. Or log a to the power m is equal to m log a. In fact, if you look at these things that are there on the screen, log a to the power m, b to the power n, base b to the power n is m by n log a to the power base b. This 3-4 basic formulae, these 3-4 basic concepts is all that comes in your CAT exam in this topic called logs or logarithms. How do you become better in that? 30 minutes will take you to each of these questions. One of the things I always come back with saying that if there is a concept, you spend 30 minutes on that concept. A, learning that concept. B, solving 10 to 12 questions or 8 to 10 questions in that concept based exercises. You do that, you will be very, very good in that. 2, like I told you, there are 4 areas which you should be really good at. One is indices, one is logarithms, guaranteed 1 or 2 questions in your actual CAT exam. And then there are 2 more areas which I think you should be good at. One is progressions and the other one is quadratic equations. In progressions, we know there is a arithmetic progression, geometric progression and an arithmetico-geometric progression. There are, in each of these areas, there is one very, very basic concept that one has to understand. One is, what is the nth term, or call it Tn? What is the sum to n terms, or called Sn? When it talks about arithmetic progression, we are talking about this Tn and Sn. There is a formula for that. And there are series of things that you need to remember. For example, what is sigma of all natural numbers? Sigma n, n into n plus 1 by 2. Or sigma of n square or sigma of n cube. That is sum of squares of all n natural numbers, or sum of cubes of n natural numbers. Simple formulae. If you remember those formulae, you will not waste too much of time. Similarly, in arithmetic progression, you have only 2, that is the nth term and the sum to n terms. Same thing in GP, you have the same sum nth term and the sum to n terms, but there is one more extra concept in geometric progression, and that is sum to infinity. When does that sum to infinity come in? When your ratio, or the common ratio as we call it, R, is less than 1. For example, if it is half, you start with, let's say, 64 into half, the next term will become 32, into half it will become 16, into half will become 8, into half will become whatever, it keeps going down. So if I'm multiplying by half for each of the terms, the R that we call it, which is a common ratio, slowly and steadily that number will become close to 0. And that is the reason why there is a concept called sum to infinite terms. And there is of course the AGP series, the other fundas like what are the first 3 terms, what are the first 5 terms kind of things. In each of these things, once again, I'll just tell you that standard questions come in CAT. Standard questions come in CAT. At the end of the video, I'm going to tell you something very interesting, what Careers 360 is doing for you about these previous year's questions. But then let's look at the next most important thing called quadratic equations. While you see on the screen various things, there are exactly 3 concepts that you need to be good at. A, sum of roots and product of roots. For example, if ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0 is a quadratic equation, you know the sum of the roots is minus b by a and the product of the roots is c by a. I mean, anybody, if an 8th class student also knows that. How do you apply that is the most important part. That is concept 1. The second one is the discriminant of a equation, of a expression. B square, root of b square or b square minus 4ac. If you understand that, you will be very easy to solve. I mean, it will be very easy for you to solve very standard problems and what are the nature of the roots accordingly. So you will know if b square minus ac, b square minus 4ac is 0, then you know that the nature of the roots are, both of them are equal. If you know that b square minus 4ac is greater than 0, you know that the roots are real. And if you know that b square minus 4ac is less than 0, the roots are imaginary. 99% in the CAT exam, you will never get the third one. So knowing this second, the concept called discriminant and the nature of roots, a lot of standard problems can be solved in quadratic equations. And the last one and the most important concept, or a very important concept if not the most, is the minimum and the maximum value of an expression, a quadratic expression. There is a formula for that also, or you can derive that formula. Those of you who are engineers, or actually those of you who have done basic differentiation, can use differentiation to do that. But don't worry about it. If you're not an engineer, don't at all worry about it. There is a direct formula. So the 3 points or the 3 concepts, if I were you, I will do 30 questions on that. From where? I will do from the previous year's papers. Careers 360 has compiled for you the past 10 years CAT question papers with full answers. You can download it for free. Don't forget to press the bell icon so that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Many more videos on knowing the right strategies, avoiding the mistakes, and ensuring that you have the right study plan are included in these various videos. Signing off right now, this is ARKS Srinivas. Thank you. Until the next video.